one of the most important things that you can do as a salesperson is to work on yourself. So if you do not exude confidence, if you are not personally growing, if you're not working on yourself, and that means taking care of your family life, your finances, your like all of those things, that's going to just exude fake confidence if you're trying to post that confidence up. So that's another key thing that I feel like is important for salespeople. If that's who we're talking to, right? If I have one thing to say to a salesperson who's trying to learn and get into it, is work on yourself.
Well, we're talking, like our audience on YouTube especially is primarily creative entrepreneurs. So these are people who have started their own companies.
Yeah.
And they're maybe freelancing and they're just doing graphic design or they're just doing this, but they have to sell their service.
Yeah.
And so they would not consider themselves as salespeople, but they have to be salespeople.
Which is an unfortunate truth, but it is a truth. Everybody is selling something always. So, I don't care who you are. This is advice that I would give my own kids. No matter what you're doing, whether you're just in the creative side or you are sales or whatever, don't forget to work on yourself, because that confidence does bleed through in every single conversation that you have. I'm confident in the product that I sell. I'm confident in the product that we sell. It works. It's going to change the course of the sales. It's going to change the way my family is able to be provided for. And so for me to be confident in myself, I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm constantly pursuing what's next so that I can remain an expert in the field. All of those things simply bleed through you, even if you're not like an uber extrovert, right? So,
mindset is
Don't
huge.
forget that. Don't forget to keep yourself in check and on the point, because if you let yourself slide. How many of us can point to an example of when we were talking to a salesperson that just sounded hungry? How painful is that? You're like, oh.
Yeah, no, I've been there.
Brutal.
Well, in unfortunately, it was buying a car. It's
an unfortunate reality. Yeah,
but I also had a really great experience buying a car, which is like at CarMax, the last place I bought a car.
Yeah.
And it's funny that they changed their tagline is the way car buying should be, and their people are not allowed to haggle. So they can't like start a price here and then go here. The price is just the price.
Yeah.
And so therefore it gets that conversation out of the way. It's like, that's just what the price is. Now, how can I help serve you?
Right.
And so it's a different mindset of how to do sales.
I have a perfect example. So I've now purchased solar from the same company twice. So my last house and then this house. The owner of the company is in sales, so he'll come out. I got to meet him, got to know him, liked the guy, exuded confidence, he knows what he's doing. I'm not gonna haggle the price that he's gonna give me simply because I know you have a job to do, you're trying to sell solar, I have a job to do, offset my solar cost. If you feel taken care of, I know you're gonna take care of me.
Yeah.
And he proved that the first time without hesitating. Boom, the next house I bought, I called him before we even closed on this because I knew he was gonna take care of me, and every time I ever had any issue at all, or didn't understand something about PG&E bill or whatever it was, I know I can pick up the phone and call him personally, and he'll get back to me right away with an honest and open answer. Hey, screwed this up, we'll fix it. Or, oh hey, that's this, we can do XYZ to fix it. Whatever it is, I always feel taken care of, and it's the perfect experience. Love doing business with them.
Yeah,
so.
and it goes back to the fact, like, for me, when I'm talking to people about solar and they're talking about the differences of percentages and how much you're going to save and all this stuff, my mind just shuts down.
It does.
But you remember how you felt with dealing with him.
I'm willing to pay an extra $2,000 or $3,000 for the system as a whole in order to get that level of comfort with them.
I tell my accountant, I mess around because like numbers are just not my thing.
Yeah.
And I said,
which is a great feature for a CEO, by the way.
Just make sure that I pay my fair share and no more, and keep me out of jail. You figure out the rest. Tell me what you need from me.
Ready, set, go. But he makes you feel like he understands what those nuances are, and he's taking care of them. So if you got bit, of course you're not going to recommend him or go back to him the next year. But year over year, he's proven that it's working. Right? So that's the time factor.
I want to go back to what you were saying about working on yourself. Okay, so I distinctly remember a coaching session that I had with my coach, Chris Doe, when he was helping us with our agency. And I was in a lull, I was in a valley, I didn't know how to get to the next level. And he'd helped me with some very practical things, but I knew that I didn't just need the practical. And he gave me the picture of the glass ceiling. He said, Sean, there's a ceiling above you, like your head's hitting it. And you need to break through it, but it's like you could see what's on the other side, but the only thing that's holding you back is yourself. And it was like a stab to the heart when he's like, your mindset just needs to change. It's not about like you learning the right practical thing to do in your business. He said your mindset just needs to change. And another mentor of mine, Norm Kazarian, he talks about, he could tell you where you're gonna be in the next 5 years by the people you associate with and the books you read. And so when you were saying you have to work on yourself and develop the right mindset to have the confidence to be able to reach your goals, what are those things that you've done how can people work on themselves? How do you do that?
Of course. So the main areas that I focus on are faith, relationships, health, and finance. So faith, if you're a person of faith or not, I personally am a Christian, so I put learning and time into that faith. I believe that for eternity, I'm either going to heaven or I'm not. So here are the barriers, here are the specific things that I need to know to make sure that I know that I am going to heaven, right? And then relationships, that goes into playing like who are your closest friends, who are the people that you're spending time with. And on that front, we get into what are the reach up relationships, so mentorship, the shoulder to shoulder relationships, who are my friends, who am I actually spending time with? So I'm fortunate to count you in that circle. And then who am I helping up? So by you giving back automatically, anything you're reading, listening to, posting, you're processing it in through the lens of how am I going to reteach this to the guys that need help? I don't have all the answers, nor am I perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I might be one step ahead of the guy who's coming to me for answers. So I'm redoing that. Health. My goal is not to be, muscle bound, big Hulk poses and all of that stuff. It's to be physically agile and fit, Lord willing, to play with my great grandkids. So I can pass down my morals, my thoughts, my lessons learned, and all of those things. Trying to curb the effects of fatherlessness in America. So that is a huge issue that we are dealing with. I do not want my kids, my grandkids, and hopefully my great-grandkids to deal with that because of me. So I'm gonna do whatever I can to be physically fit enough to do that. And so that means exercise, health, just taking care of the things that we can physically control. So I'm gonna do those things, not obsessively, but within reason. And then finances. As it turns to selling, everybody can smell a hungry salesman. Like you can tell that they're desperate for that sale. They start being willing to cut corners and cheat you or upsell unnecessarily because they need to make ends meet at the end of the month. And that's a crappy place to be. So having things like emergency funds, the right insurances, second streams of income, if that's what you need to make ends meet, go out there and hustle. Don't stop until it's done. And then learning, constantly learning. There's always going to be something else that you can learn, whether it's on the savings front, investments front, everything in between, cutting things out that are unnecessary, and just exhibiting self-control. Those are the main things. And so I have specific growth habits in each of those areas. But it's a learning curve. Maybe just pick one.
Do you feel like all of those? So that's like a foundation for life, right? So not just your mindset, like it's faith, relationships, health, and finances. Like that's all inclusive. Like you need to be a well-rounded, healthy person. You need to be cognizant of those. And then so maybe some of the people that are watching our channel are like, okay, I need to take it seems so overwhelming. I don't want to just change my entire life. I just want to focus on one area of growth.
Yes.
Right. And so, and like maybe specifically with their business or with learning or confidence, gaining confidence, how would they grow in their confidence? Because a lot of people, especially in the creative industry, they're not you. They're introverted. We are self-conscious. We downplay our services even though they're probably great. And so like we need to change our mindset. What are some of those things that can help us grow in confidence?
Off the top of my head, I would say start with relationships. So I'm not advocating cutting people out of your life and saying, hey dude, we can't hang out anymore. I know we've been friends since high school. Like, no, that's crap. If anybody ever tells you to do that, that's garbage. However, if you start hanging out with people that are successful in your field, so say you're a graphic designer or you're a videographer, or you know your elbows deep in the content, you don't like the limelight, but you're the background work. If you find people that are successful doing that background work that you know how to do, and just reach out. Can I buy you coffee? Can I pick your brain on how you crossed over from quote unquote not success to success? And that's all perception, of course. But if you find those people and you surround yourself with them, you can't help but grow. And so learning how to do that and surrounding yourself with people that in your mind have succeeded, you're gonna learn a couple things. Learn those things, actually implement them. You have to do them, because otherwise you're just an asshole. You're asking advice, but you're not implementing it, so it's just falling into the black hole. So surround yourself with people that are successful in that area. A perfect example would be, for me, how I started that was parenting. I didn't feel like an adequate parent when we first had our first kid. And so we found families that were successful. We went to lunch at their homes and watched how they parented. This particular couple had like 8 kids. It's like, dude, you guys are incredible parents. How do I be more like you? And I just watched how they interacted with their kids. And I'm like, oh, I can do that. I can do that. And it might feel uncomfortable at first, but now those lessons have compounded over the years, and my patience level has grown. There's no one thing to fix it all, but surrounding yourself with the right people is.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. Click subscribe if you like that video and you want to see more content. And if you are a creative entrepreneur and you want to grow your business, check out agency.butlerbranding.com and you'll learn for free the 5 things we've learned to grow, manage, and scale Butler Branding.